Hey, today we're going to talk a little bit about travel days. We've been at this RV park in southern Alabama for about almost 3 months. We're getting ready to leave in a couple weeks. We're going to head up the East Coast. We're going to spend a month in Georgia, a month in Pennsylvania, and then a month in New York, and then we're going to end up in Vermont for 3 months. Or more longer than that. It'll be till then, in middle of October or so, up there, till it starts getting cold. Then we're gonna head south somewhere. We're not sure where yet.
It's still to be determined.
Right.
So that's pretty far ahead for us to plan, but you do have to plan ahead a little bit. So that's like we're 2 weeks out. We're making plans now. We've laid out our route. We know where we're going to stay the first night, since it's like a 2-day trip. We only like to go maybe 5-6 hours at a time at the most, 300 miles, something like that, until we stop. So
yeah, you don't want to get there and have to set up in the dark, and you don't want to get there tired either. But so it's kind of good to think about where you're going and how you're going to get there and where you're going to stop and what your fuel stops are. And it's important to have an RV specific GPS so that it doesn't let you go in places that you really won't fit, like under bridges.
And there's always a lot of stuff we need to do to get ready to go, and Robin's going to run over a lot of the stuff that she does, and I'll fill in on some of the stuff that I do when we're getting ready to go. And we can usually get ready to go in 45 minutes tops, and we can roll out of bed and hit the road. So
well, you got to think about you're in a rolling earthquake. I mean, things are going to move when you're traveling, and so you want to secure as much as you can. We start securing things sometimes even a day or so before. If we're not going to use it, we'll put it away and kind of make sure it's going to stay where we put it. We want to make sure on the inside, the first thing I do is start making sure all the cabinet doors are shut tight. The drawers are shut tight. We've got a drawer full of knives. You don't want any of those flying out. Well, they're probably not going to fly out, but the drawer will open. We've got spices in a cabinet. We don't want those falling out. In the refrigerator, I put tension rods in, and I've got a picture of that we'll put in here. The spice cabinet, I put tension rods in. I put our Afghans or the pillows from the couch. I'll put those in the cabinets. That'll kind of keep things tight in there. So there are a lot of little things that help. I know some people will even put rubber bands around the cabinet doors if they're too close together, the doorknobs, to keep them secure. We don't really have needed to do that.
No. With the style of upper cabinets we have, we don't have that issue. They're quite a bit of spring tension on them, so that we don't usually have that issue.
And they open from the bottom on some of them, so it's different. And then in the shower, like the stuff that's on the ledge, or that's where the soap dish is or something, I'll put all that stuff on the floor, because you'll hear it fall if you don't. And the sliding doors, I'll secure those. I'll lock and make sure they're locked in place so they don't slide back and forth. And then sometimes people that have live plants will put those in the showers, and maybe a mop or a broom or something. You'll put that in the shower. Make sure your shower door's shut tight. So, then on the outside.
Yeah, on the outside, I start in a couple days ahead of time, or maybe a day or so ahead of time. We check all the tire pressures, make sure your tires are inflated properly. I like to get underneath for our leveling jacks. We have hydraulic leveling jacks. I like to wipe them down with a kind of a soft cloth or paper towel or something, and wipe all the excess dirt and stuff on, and then put a light layer of oil on it, and then I wipe most of that oil back off, because you don't want a lot of oil on it where more dirt can collect on it. I just like to keep them nice and smooth, so when they do retract, they don't mess the seals up and stuff.
Don't you put slide oil on too?
And where all our slides, we put slide oil on all them a day or so before we're ready to go. Make sure they're lubricated. The day of, we put the sewer hose away, and the little track we run the sewer hose in, put that all away and secure it, and put the water hose away, make sure it's wrapped up nice and connected so we don't leak.
Kind of wipe the dirt off them before you put them away, too.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And usually about the last thing we do after Robin gets the slides run in from the inside, then we disconnect the electric and get us ready to go.
Then if you got lawn furniture like your chairs and your outside grill or whatever you might have outside, maybe a little end table, you have to get all those put away. Sometimes they go in our tow vehicle, and then you always, before we drive away, we make sure all of the outdoor basement doors are locked, because we don't want those flying open as we're traveling down the road. And then if you have an awning or like satellite dish or Starlink or something outside, antennas, you want to make sure those are in wherever you store them. And if you've got the antenna that you got to crank down, you want to make sure it's down. We've seen different campgrounds. We've seen people drive away, with something out, on awning out, or an antenna up, and usually other campers will try to catch them before they get completely out of the park, so they can fix that. And then before you arrive at the next location, this is something to talk about too. It's a good idea to make sure you're going to fit whatever they've got you set up for.
Yeah, a lot of people you talk to when you're making your reservations, I've noticed this at different state campgrounds.
Especially
they really don't know what size campsites they're renting you, because they're renting them out of a one statewide headquarter, and we got put in what they swore was a pull-through campsite in Kansas one time, and it was, we wanted to just pull in there and not have to unhook our toad and stuff, since we was staying overnight, and there was no way that we would fit in there without unhooking the toad. And
it was a mess. It was actually two sides put together. You had to pull in at a 45-degree angle, and then straighten up, and then pull out at a 45-degree angle. We couldn't even do that.
It was like two 45s coming in this way, but the center of it was where the campsite was. So there was no way to get in and out of there. Yeah, with
you had to back in one side. It was pretty bad. And then sometimes full hookup at some of these parks, these more remote state parks, their full hookup might be water. That's it.
Yeah, you
have to really ask.
Yeah, even though it says full hookup, you need to ask and make sure.
Yeah, and then if you're just going to boondock somewhere on the way to your final destination, you might not have any utilities or any hookups at all, and just make sure your fresh water tank's full. If you got a generator, that it works. And there's boondocking places, there's boondocking sites. Harvest Host is one where you can stay for free, and we'll put a link in the comments on that one. And then sometimes you can check like Bass Pro Shops or maybe Cracker Barrels. And some Walmarts now have a sign up, no overnight stays, but if you go ask, a lot of times they'll let you stay anyway. So it just depends. But kind of plan that into your travel time. Don't wait till dark to try to find some place.
We kind of try to avoid, I think out of courtesy, trying to stay at truck stops in the truckers' spots, because them guys are out there trying to make a living, and we just try to avoid that. I know some Lowe's have camper-specific spots now that you can stay in, but we really can't stress enough.
Is it Lowe's or Love's?
Love's.
Yeah.
Sorry, but we can't stress enough that stay out of the way of the truckers and let them guys have them spots. They've been working all day. They need a place where they can shut their eyes for a while. It's not good. They come in there and there's parked full of campers, and they got to go back out on the road. And kind of, we expect a lot of courtesies out of them guys when we're driving. It's good to give them a little respect while we're out there.
And then when you do get to your final destination, we've got a whole list of must-haves, and we'll put links to a downloadable booklet that we'll have available here real soon with a whole list of different things, especially for new RVers and even more so for new full-timers. But Dave made a couple of short videos we're attaching to this. It's very important to check your electric before you plug in and know what your water pressure is.
Yeah, we've got hooked up some bad electric already, where I explained in the video, but we lost an inverter, a microwave, and a TV by hooking up to a bad electric site one time.
Thermostat, I think, for half of it or something.
Yep.
With the thermostat we had to get replaced. And
so and it only takes a second. So
yeah.
Electricity's fast.
And then water pressure, you never know what it's going to be. Sometimes it's really high pressure, and things can break loose, and then you've got water out to clean up all over.
We've been places already where they've had upwards of 60 pounds of pressure, and that's a little too much, I think, for our rig. I don't want to run that much in it, so it's good to have a regulator, one that you can adjust up and down a little bit.
Yeah, that really helps. There's other things that we think are important to have, but right now those are the two main things on travel days that concern us. Make sure we disconnect everything and get secured enough to get on the road, and then when we get there to make sure we can safely hook up. Those are the two main things, and then it doesn't take us that long to set back up, but it's a little bit slower because we're kind of chilling out as we put everything back out that we want out, and a lot depends on how long we're going to stay too. So, but I know we're not the only RVers or full-time RVers, or even those that go out for several months at a time, and I'm sure there's other people that have tips and things and stories to tell, and we would love to hear them. So just leave us comments. Let us know what you're doing, what you like, what problems there are, and we'll keep in touch. And don't forget to check out the links that we're leaving. And we'll be taking off here in about 2 weeks or so, and we'll have another video, I'm sure, before then.
Yep. Maybe we'll see you out there on the road.
Yeah, yes. Another thing we found important is these tension rods. We put them in the refrigerator like this. I push everything back as far as I can get it, and then you open these up. I should have had it opened already to show you. But you open these up. I usually like to set it right about here, like that. You get both of them open. You can see how this will work. Make it tight. And then when you open the second one, and then you put another one in on each level, like that, like this, and you just tighten them up with the tension. And then when you start to move, if anything's coming, it's not going to fall completely out. Now sometimes they'll loosen up, but it won't be a disaster. And you want to make sure these are shut, especially if you got knives in them like that. You don't want them flying open, so you don't want that. You don't want to bring your... You want to make sure that these are securely shut, because when you bring your slide in, it could catch. One thing you want to do is to always make sure that you got your cabinet securely shut when you're getting ready to go.
Wanted to talk to you today about surge protection on your rigs. Our rig and most rigs anymore come with a surge protector already mounted into them like this, but what I've come to figure out, we don't know how much this thing here costs, so if you plug directly into a bad current or get a surge that would happen to blow this thing up or make it go bad, you got the expense of getting this replaced, plus the expense of labor and everything else to do that. What we've done, and what I really recommend, is to get yourself an inline surge protector like this one here. Let's see if I can get it in focus. This one here mounts directly in line, and I can't get that box to open up, but you plug it straight in, you shut your breaker off and plug this in without being hooked up to your motorhome, and these lights will light up and tell you what's going on, whether you've got an open neutral, if you've got a bad leg or whatever. And if you happen to blow this thing up, it's going to be a lot less expensive than what working in the camper over there was. What I always do is shut the breaker off, plug this in, check out, make sure I got all 3 green lights, and then I shut the breaker back off, plug the camper in down here, and then turn the breaker back on. Could save yourself a lot of headaches. We hooked up to some bad power one time, and we ended up losing the TV and a microwave and several other things in our camper, so it's well worth the effort to have this. Wanted to make a little video about our water regulator that we have on our camper. This thing here, get the thing. As you can see, this one's got a dial on it. We've been to a lot of campgrounds where the water pressure is really pretty high, so it's great to have something like this on here where you can regulate how much pressure you want to have going through your system. You never know if you break a line or something inside the camper, even if you're not there. If something would happen, and you spring a leak when you're not around, it can really cause a lot of trouble. These things can help alleviate that problem. You can get the pressure set to where you like it at, and so you've got nice pressure in your shower and everything everywhere else, but it's not an overabundance of pressure. I'd have to say we've been to more campgrounds where there's too much pressure on the on your lines instead of too little, so we've come to really rely on this. They make several different models of this. Some are just straight in line, or this one's straight in line, but it's got a gauge on it. We really like to have one that's got a gauge on it. Some of them just like an inline check valve, and they serve the purpose, and they're probably cheaper, but we like this model here.
But hey, what are you doing down there?
Well, look underneath here.
Wait, what?
I'm cleaning off our levelers before we take off for the road.
How are you doing that?
Well, I like to take one paper towel and rub it off kind of gentle like, and get any excess dirt and stuff off of it. I always like to use 2 because I don't want to use the dirty one again to wipe it down. But then I like to take another one and just put a real light coat on there. Nothing excess. I probably wipe 90% of it back off again. Because these things have a seal up in here, and if you drag a bunch of dirt and dust up in that seal, eventually it's going to start leaking. Then you got a puddle of oil and you got a mess, because you'd have to get the whole thing rebuilt to get that seal fixed. So it's a good idea to do a little maintenance on them before you preventive maintenance.
Well, I hope it's good.